In the first lecture on transport phenomena, actually we have discussed some of the introductory facts. What is this transport phenomena and what type of phenomena take place in this case. So you have seen in that introductory lecture that actually due to three specific regions, three type of phenomenon take place. Due to the velocity gradient between the different layers of gases, there is a transport of momentum, and due to this transport of momentum, viscosity takes place. Similarly, due to the temperature gradient, you have seen a phenomenon known as thermal conductivity takes place, and due to the gradient of molecular concentration, diffusion takes place. And as I have told you in the first lecture that we will discuss all these three phenomena separately. So one thing you must keep in your mind, when we will discuss a particular phenomenon, then we will consider only the cause of that phenomenon. It means the another two causes will be not assumed. So if you want to now discuss the viscosity of gases, we will consider only that there is a velocity gradient between the different layers of the gases, but temperature is throughout same, there is no temperature gradient, and molecular concentration is also same throughout, and so there will be no molecular concentration gradient. Only the cause which actually causes viscosity of gases, we will consider it. So now let us consider that this OX, you can see this figure, I have shown this line OX, but remember this OX is not a line. Although in figure it appears like a line, but it is not a line. It is just a horizontal surface. So you can think that OX is a horizontal surface, and above this horizontal surface a gas is moving horizontally parallel to this horizontal surface. So the gases which will be in contact of this horizontal surface is almost at rest. So you can say the velocity of the gas in contact of this horizontal surface is 0. At the same time, we also assume that as we move in this direction y, you can see this direction in this figure, this y direction, as we move in this direction y, that is a direction which is actually perpendicular to this horizontal surface OX, we consider that the velocity of the gas increases at a constant rate. And what is that constant rate? I have shown in this figure that constant rate is dV by dy. Actually this dV by dy means what? This is, you can say this is what? This is known as temperature velocity gradient. And what does it mean? It means actually when the distance will increase by unity, how much velocity will increase. So if you consider that with increase in distance by dy, velocity of flow of gas increases by dV, then by the unit increase in distance, the increase in velocity will be dV by dy. And this increase in velocity due to the increase in distance by unity is known as velocity gradient. So this dV by dy is actually velocity gradient in y direction. Now in this figure I have shown actually again three horizontal lines A, B, C, D and E, F, you can see. But remember, these are not simple lines. Actually A, B, C, D and E, F represents the three layers of the gases, and all these layers are in contact. Although in figure they appear separated, but they are in contact. So A, B, C, D and E, F all are three layers of the gases, and we have assumed that this layer AB, which is at a particular distance from this horizontal surface OX, is moving, gas in this layer is moving with a velocity v in x direction, as you can see here. Actually, this velocity v is what? Don't confuse this velocity v with the thermal velocity of molecules. This is not velocity of molecules, but this is velocity due to mass motion. That is, gas as a whole is flowing. So this is, you can say, the velocity of flow of the gas in layer AB, and I have assumed that this is v. And you can see in this figure the distance between any two successive layers, that is the distance between AB and CD. You can see in this figure, this I have assumed is equal to lambda, and similarly the distance between AB and EF has been also assumed lambda. What is actually this lambda? Lambda is actually mean free path, and mean free path of the molecules of the gas. And now definitely a question has been arised in your mind, that why we are taking the distance between two successive layers equal to lambda. Why this particular distance? Why we have not assumed any distance? In fact, there is a important reason behind this. You may take another distance, but that will be in fact not convenient for our calculation. So we consider that the separation between two successive layers is lambda, where lambda is mean free path of the gas molecules. But what will be the answer of this question? Why we take this lambda, if this particular distance lambda, why this distance has been taken equal to mean free path? The reason is very simple. You know that mean free path is the average distance between two successive collisions of the molecules. You have already studied mean free path in the earlier lectures, so you have an idea of mean free path. So if you assume that the distance between two successive layers is lambda, then when a gas molecule will move vertically upward, let us consider from CD to AB, or vertically downward, that is from EF to AB. In fact, as the separation between the two layers is lambda, and lambda is the distance in which no collision takes place, so you can say that actually if lambda will be the separation, then when the gas molecule will move from one layer to another, either in vertically upward direction or in vertically downward direction, there will be no collision. So gas molecule will not suffer any collision. For the fulfillment of this requirement, this particular separation lambda is kept between these two, between any two successive layers. So this is all about this figure. Now we will see some of the calculations, and after calculation, first of all, we will get actually the expression for viscosity of gases, and after that we will discuss the effect of pressure and temperature on viscosity of gases. So first of all, see here, as I have assumed that the flow velocity of the gas in layer AB is v, so and dv by dy is actually velocity gradient, then you can easily find what will be the velocity of flow of the gas in layer EF and that in CD. Actually, I have mentioned it in this figure, that the velocity of flow of gas in this layer EF will be v plus lambda dv by dy, and that in CD this will be v minus lambda dv by dy. But how? Let us see. We can understand it how it is possible that this velocity of different layers. So you can see here I have actually mentioned all these things for your convenience. What I have actually explained, everything is mentioned here. So you can see, as you have seen, that this dv by dy is what? This is actually the increase in velocity. If you move in upward direction, then there will be increase in velocity. But when you will move in downward direction, there will be decrease in velocity. So if you move in upward direction by 1 unit means either 1 centimeter or 1 meter, then you know velocity increases by dv by dy. And as you can see, the distance between the layer EF and layer AB is what? I have only written A and E, but this is layer AB and this is layer EF, and distance between these two layers is lambda. So you can say, with increase in distance by unity, increase in velocity is dv by dy. So when the distance will increase by lambda, what will be the increment in velocity? That will be simply by unitary method of mathematics. You can easily say this will be lambda dv by dy. So we can say that when we will move from this layer AB to EF, the velocity will increase by lambda dv by dy. And as the velocity of flow of the gas in layer AB is v, so what will be the velocity of flow of layer EF? We will simply add this increment of velocity in v. So you can see that this v plus lambda dv by dy, this is what? This is velocity of flow of layer EF. And similarly, you can see that if v is the velocity of flow of layer AB and CD is another layer which is in fact lambda distance below from AB. So when you will move from AB to CD, velocity will decrease by the same amount, not increase, because in downward direction velocity will decrease and in upward direction velocity is increasing. So if you want to find the velocity of flow of the gas in layer CD, what you will do? You should simply subtract this decrement, or now I am telling a decrement of velocity, lambda dv by dy from v. So you can see this v minus lambda dv by dy, this is actually velocity of flow of the gas in layer CD. So one thing I am again reminding you that this velocity v or v plus lambda dv by dy, v minus lambda dv by dy, all these velocity are actually mass velocity. Never confuse this velocity with the thermal velocity of gas molecules. These are not those velocities. These are mass motion velocity. And you have seen that the region of viscosity is actually the different mass motion velocity of different layers. So we have considered like that. Now we are considering actually the thermal motion of our molecules. You know that due to thermal agitation, the molecule has actually a random motion and it moves almost in all possible directions with same probability, because our gaseous system is isotropic, and so the probability of motion of the molecules, now I am talking about the motion of molecules, in all directions will be same. So you can say that the probability of motion in this x direction, probability of movement of molecule in y direction, and probability of movement of molecule in z direction will be same. So as a whole, you can say that if we consider that there is in fact n molecules per unit volume, then in a particular direction, that is you can say in along x direction, along y direction and along z direction, there will be a probability of flow of probability of motion of molecule which will be actually equal to 1/3 of the total probability. That is, if n is the number, then there will be n by 3 number of molecules which may move either in x direction or in y direction or in z direction. But it is also so in this condition, if we want to find what will be the average number of molecule per unit volume moving along an axis in a particular direction, then we must have to take the average number, and that average number will be calculated. How we will calculate it? In fact, think that it is possible in that particular direction which you consider no molecule will be move, or at most the number of molecule which will move will be n by 3. सो जो कम से कम मॉलिक्यूल मूव कर सकता है वह 0, और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो मूव कर सकता है वह टोटल मॉलिक्यूल का 1/3. सो एवरेज विल बी व्हाट? Minimum is 0 and maximum is n by 3. So average will be what? Average will be n by 6. You can see here, I have mentioned it here. So this n is actually the average number of molecules per unit volume moving along an axis in a particular direction, and that will be simply 0 plus n by 3 divided by 2. This is arithmetic mean, and this is n by 6. सो वी कैन सिंपली से, आप आसानी से इतना कह सकते हैं कि किसी एक्सिस के पैरेलल एक पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन में ऑन एवरेज 1/6 मॉलिक्यूल मूव करेगा. टोटल मॉलिक्यूल का जो छठा हिस्सा है, 1/6 पार्ट है, दैट विल मूव. यू कैन से दिस. नाउ लेट अस कंसिडर दैट दिस VAV, this is average velocity of the gas molecules. Now see, this velocity VAV, this is actually thermal velocity, not velocity due to mass motion. Gas molecules average velocity is VAV, and we also consider that m is mass of each molecule. Actually we consider that mass of each molecule is same, and that is equal to m equal to, this is mass of each molecule. Now see this figure. This is your layer AB, and now the molecule from the layer EF is moving downward. This is a particular direction. See here, and we consider that we consider a unit area. In fact, unit area we consider for simplicity of calculation. You may take any area. May take A area. So now let us consider this figure which I am drawing here denotes the unit area of this layer AB, and we are considering that molecules from the layer EF is moving in downward direction through this unit area. So you can think, when the molecule will enter in this unit area, then what distance these molecules will cover in 1 second. You know, any body covers a distance equal to its velocity in 1 second, because velocity is simply the displacement in 1 second. Here direction is fixed, so there is no difference between distance and displacement, and we have assumed that this VAV is the average velocity of our gas molecule. So you can say in 1 second the distance covered by these molecules will be simply equal to VAV, because distance is speed into time, at time is 1 second. So we can easily say that in 1 second the molecules moving from EF to AB in downward direction will be actually distributed in a cylinder whose cross-sectional area is unity and length of this cylinder is equal to V average. So in this way we can find how much molecule, how many no, not how much, but how many molecules actually flows from through the unit area of the layer AB in downward direction. So you can calculate it. So the number of molecules passing downward from EF to CD per unit area. I am again repeating, this unit area has been taken for the simplicity of calculation. You may take any area. Per unit area of the layer AB per second or in 1 second, you can say. What will be actually this number? This number will be actually equal to the number of molecules contained in this cylinder. And as you have seen that the number of molecules flowing in a particular direction on average per unit volume is n by 6. So when you will calculate the volume of this cylinder and that volume will be multiplied by this number n by 6, then we will get actually this number. So this will be equal to n by 6 into volume of this cylinder. What will be the volume of the cylinder? You know the volume of cylinder is what? This is pi r square L. I am just writing this formula for your convenience. But as our assumption is that the area of this cylinder is, so area of cross section of this cylinder is 1, because we have assumed the unit area of the layer AB. So this pi r square is equal to 1 and L is equal to V average. Why V average is L? Because you know we are going to find the number of the molecules which will pass downward through this unit area in 1 second, and in 1 second the distance covered by the molecule will be simply equal to V average. इसलिए 1 सेकेंड में जो यह डिस्टेंस कवर करेगा वो तो V एवरेज के बराबर होगा. So this cylinder has a length equal to V average. So this is simply equal to n into V average divided by 6. So this is actually the number of molecules that passes in downward direction from the layer EF to CD per unit area of the layer AB. Now, if you want to know the mass of these molecules, total mass of these molecules, then how you can find it? As we have assumed that m is mass of each molecule, because each molecule is equally massive. So mass of all these molecules which actually flows through unit area of this layer AB in 1 second from EF to CD will be what? We will simply multiply this number by m. Therefore, mass of these molecules will be what? Mass of one molecule into number. So m into NAV divided by 6. Now you can see as the velocity of flow of this layer EF is what? This is V plus lambda dV by dy. You have seen it. So we can calculate the momentum lost per unit area per second by the layer EF, because the molecules are leaving this layer, so there will be a loss of momentum of this layer EF. So when you want to calculate the loss of momentum, we will simply multiply this mass of the molecules with the velocity of this layer. So you can say therefore forward momentum lost per unit area per second by the layer EF. What will be this? Mass times velocity, and you have calculated the mass, and this is m into n into V average divided by 6. This is mass. And velocity of flow of layer EF is what? This is V plus lambda dV by dy. So this is the amount of momentum which will be lost by the layer EF per second per unit area. Now similarly, you can see, if we want to know the number of molecules moving through unit area of this layer AB in upward direction from the layer CD से AB के तरफ जो मॉलिक्यूल मूव करेगा वह AB के यूनिट एरिया से 1 सेकंड में फ्लो करके जाएगा. व्हाट विल बी दैट नंबर? दैट विल बी आल्सो सेम, क्योंकि एक पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन में उसके चलने का जो संभावना है यूनिट वॉल्यूम में, जो एवरेज नंबर होता है एक पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन में, वह n/6 के बराबर है. सो दैट विल बी अगेन सेम. सो सिमिलरली इन दिस कंडीशन you can find the momentum lost by CD. But the momentum which will be lost by CD, that will be gained by EF. CD से जो मॉलिक्यूल निकलेगा वह EF में पहुंचता है, तो उसका मोमेंटम EF में इम्पार्टेड होगा. So similarly you can say that forward momentum gained by layer EF. Actually this will be lost by CD and gained by EF. CD जितना लॉस करेगा EF उतना ही गेन करेगा. So what will be that? You can see this will be mn V average over 6. But now what will be at the place of velocity? This will be V minus lambda dV by dy, because you know the velocity of flow of this layer CD is what? This is V minus lambda dV by dy. So you can see here that our layer EF gains momentum per second per unit area, and that is equal to this much. This is actually lost momentum per unit area per unit time by the layer EF, and at the same time this layer EF also gains this much momentum per second per unit area. But you can see due to this plus sign, actually the lost momentum per unit area per second by layer EF is greater than the gained momentum. So as a whole you can say there will be a loss of momentum by the layer EF. So what will be the net loss, the actual loss? We can easily find it. अब ये जो EF लेयर है ये ज़्यादा लॉस करता है और कम गेन करता है, तो एज ए होल तो लॉस होगा। और कैसे निकालेंगे उसको? तो जो उसने लॉस किया उसमें से गेन को माइनस कर देंगे तो आपको नेट जो उसके द्वारा लॉस हुआ वो मालूम हो जाएगा। सो यू कैन से देयरफॉर द नेट मोमेंटम लॉस्ट, net momentum lost by the layer EF per unit area per second. And you know this will be simply, we will subtract this equation 2 from equation 1 and you can see the algebra. Mn V average over 6 is a common factor, so take this as a common factor. Mn V average divided by 6 and we will subtract from V plus lambda dV by dy to what? V minus lambda dV by dy. इसको subtract कर देंगे. You can see this V will cancel out and this lambda dV by dy will be actually added because this minus and minus will become plus. So what will be your result? This will be 2 lambda dV by dy and that 2 will cancel this 6 and that will become 3. So you can say that this lost momentum per unit area per second will be actually equal to 1 over 3 Mn into V average into lambda dV by dy. You can easily see it. So this is actually the net lost momentum per unit area per second by the layer EF. And similarly you can see that this much momentum will be gained per second per unit area by the layer CD. EF जहाँ लॉस कर रहा है CD उतना ही गेन करेगा उतने ही टाइम में. So in fact this is equal to momentum gained by the layer CD per unit area per second. So you can see as our layer EF loses momentum and this is your EF and this layer CD actually gains momentum. So definitely due to this layer EF this CD will be accelerated. It will experience an accelerating force. This will be accelerated. And as the momentum is lost due to momentum is lost by EF, so it experiences a retarding force. It means, in other words, you can say that EF will accelerate CD and CD will decelerate or retard EF. Actually, that retarding force or accelerating force are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. You can see, and so as you know from the second law of motion, that the force is nothing, it is simply the rate of change in momentum, and this lost momentum we have calculated in 1 second. So definitely the lost momentum or gained momentum per second per unit area will be what? That will be simply equal to the retarding force or the backward dragging force or accelerating force acting on unit area. So from second law of motion you can see it. So backward dragging force, backward dragging force per unit area, per unit area. You know from this from the second law of motion, this will be equal to gain or loss of momentum, gain or loss of momentum per unit area per second. Actually gain और लॉस ऑफ मोमेंटम पर सेकेंड इज फोर्स, और चूंकि हम लोगों ने यूनिट एरिया का कंडीशन लगाया हुआ है इसलिए इधर भी लिखना पड़ा यूनिट एरिया, है ना. सो if you denote this force by the symbol F, then this F will be what? This will be 1 by 3 mn VAV lambda dV by dy, dV by dy. Now remember, you have definitely studied the viscosity of fluid in lower classes in the fluid mechanics, and I hope you have in your memory the Newton's law for viscosity. Actually Newton's law for viscosity measures the viscosity of a fluid in terms of the backward dragging force. So you can say if eta equal to viscosity of the gas, viscosity of the gas, then according to Newton's law, Newton's law does not mean Newton's law of motion, it is Newton's law of viscosity. Newton's law of viscosity. You have seen that this Newton's law of viscosity actually states that this F is equal to eta times dV by dy, where F is actually not force but this is force acting on unit area. Remember, this is not force, this is force acting on unit area. So eta dV by dy, this is the expression for F according to Newton's law. So you can see that we have calculated this force by the concept of kinetic theory of gases, and again we have mentioned this formula from the Newton's law, but both of these two equations define the same force. So from 4 and 5 you can say, from equations 4 and 5, what you can say? Eta dV by dy is equal to what? See this equation, this is this much, so this will be equal to 1 over 3 mn V average lambda dV by dy. And this dV by dy will cancel out, and so eta is what? Eta is 1 over 3 mn V average into lambda. Now see here, what is this m into n? M is mass of one molecule, or n is number of molecule in a unit volume. So m into n is simply the mass of unit volume of the gas. And you know, mass of unit volume is called density. So this product m into n will be simply the density of the gas. So you can write this is 1 by 3 rho V average into lambda. So where you can say that this rho is mn, and m that is equal to density of the gas. So this rho equal to m into n, and this is density of the gas. This is actually the expression for viscosity of gas, which we have calculated by the concept of kinetic theory of gases. Now you can see this viscosity of gas actually depends on three quantities, three parameters, and these are actually density of gas, average velocity of gas molecules, and the mean free path of the gas molecules. Now actually we will discuss the effect of pressure and temperature on the viscosity of gas. So first of all, effect of pressure. Effect of pressure. See here, actually the density of the gas increases with increase in pressure. So roughly you can say that this rho is proportional to P, where P is pressure. But at the same time, this mean free path, you have already studied this fact in the previous lecture, that this mean free path is actually inversely, roughly you can say inversely proportional to the pressure. So this lambda is proportional to P to the power minus 1. It means inversely proportional. And you have already studied the average velocity of gas molecule actually depends only on its temperature, not on pressure. So you can say that this V average is proportional to P to the power 0. It means V average does not depend on pressure. So you can see that this rho into V average into lambda will be proportional to P times P to the power minus 1 times P to the power 0. It means this will be proportional to P to the power 0, because this P times P minus 1, P to the power minus 1, this power will cancel out, and this is P to the power 0. So if you can see that this product actually does not depend on pressure. So you can say if this product does not depend on pressure, what does it mean? It means the viscosity of gas is independent of pressure. So in short, we can write that this eta is not a function of pressure. It means you can say that viscosity of gas is independent of pressure. When you say independent of pressure, it means if pressure of the gas will increase or decrease, there will be no effect on viscosity of the gas. So if you want to show this graphically, how you can show it? See here, on this axis I am noting eta on this P. Since eta is independent of P, so at any pressure is low or high, eta will be same, so this line will be actually parallel to P. So this shows that eta remains constant as the pressure changes. Now we will see the effect of temperature on viscosity of gas. Effect of temperature. Again, see how all those three quantities depend on temperature. You know the density of a gas decreases with temperature, but the mean free path increases with rise in temperature almost in same ratio. And the average velocity, you know, that is actually proportional to a square root of temperature. So you can say that density of the gas is roughly, this is just a rough relation, this is roughly inversely proportional to temperature, and the mean free path is roughly directly proportional to temperature, and the average velocity, you know, you have already studied in kinetic theory of gases that this V average is 8 kT over pi m square root. So you can see from this formula that this V average is proportional to T to the power half. So what will be this product? Rho times lambda times V average. This will be proportional to T to the power minus 1 times T to the power half. So as a whole you can say that this eta is proportional to T to the power half. So you can see that actually viscosity of the gas will increase if temperature will increase. So viscosity of gas depends on temperature and it increases with a rise in temperature. And so the graphical plot for this variation you can see here. If we note T on this axis and eta on this axis, roughly the rise in temperature leads to rise in viscosity. So this is actually the graphical plot of eta versus T. So I think you have understand each and every step of this calculation. So we will now stop our lecture on this concept and we will again meet together on this chapter for discussing the another transport phenomenon.